Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Monday edition of the Mark Mozu Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Now, to kick off the week and to talk LeBron and NBA, even though we shouldn't, we should be looking at football, but no. LeBron had to join the 76ers. To get his reaction and his thoughts in the Eastern Conference, my great friend with Locked On Magic and Orlando Magic Daily, Philip Rossman-Reich. Philip, how you doing today, buddy?
I am doing good. I feel like the next 2 months are just me mentally preparing for this Eastern Conference battle we're about to see because for the first time in a long time, the East is better than the West. Like, I think that's going to shock a lot of people.
It reminds me, and I want your thoughts on this, kind of like when LeBron said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, and it reshuffled the board, and it made everything kind of interesting, especially in the East. Do you feel like there's some energy now, like, all right, this is going to be an exciting season now?
You know, I don't necessarily think LeBron signing did that on its own. Like, LeBron was kind of on his own timeline and doing his own thing. And look, even at 41 years old, he is still a really, really impactful player. He's still someone that makes your team better. Like, I mean, he's still near all NBA talent, but he's not the LeBron James of 5 years ago, of 10 years ago. Like, you're going to have to manage him a little bit. You're going to have to get him to the end of the season. He's dealt with more injuries over the last few years than he's dealt with at any point in his career. He's had an incredibly healthy career, to be perfectly honest, until like the back end of his time with the Lakers. Yeah. But he's still someone that impacts winning. And certainly I think before the LeBron signing, the Sixers were considered one of the better teams in the East. It felt like they were a team that really took a gamble and took a leap forward to add some talent and really capitalize on what was frankly a surprising season last year when they finished seventh in the East at 45 wins. I would have picked them to finish in the top four anyway. LeBron, to me, takes them up a tier, and I think they are. I think you'll see a lot of people predict the Celtics to play, or not the Celtics, the Knicks to play the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I don't think that's crazy. I think that's probably as likely an outcome as you can have because that starting lineup is really, really good. You're the good mix of young and older players. It's just going to be about finding the right mix between them, having health to the end of the season, and then seeing where the chips fall at the end.
All right, I thought of you because you've come on this show many times, and I appreciate it, talking about creating a roster, the draft, free agency, just the structure of the Magic. And I think us and a lot of people around the NBA are thinking, wait a minute. Did they take Paul George and maybe a draft pick and turn that into Jaylen Brown and now LeBron James? My head is exploding. What about you when you look at it from that standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, like, I would tell people all the time, like, what you have to have is the ability to go out and make these moves. Like, the Sixers were sitting there. They signed Paul George, and everybody said that was a terrible signing him to the max deal that he got at that money with his injury history, with his past. Like, it sure, they'd be better, but there's a ceiling there. Like, you're not going to take the leap into the championship contention, especially with Joel Embiid's injury history. Like, no one really knew how good Tyrese Maxey was. The VJ Edgecombe wasn't even a draft pick yet. So it felt like a huge risk. But because they had that massive salary on their books, they can do the math to make a trade with the Celtics happen to get a player like Jaylen Brown. I've told people this all summer. Like, I'm terrible at fake trades. I don't like making fake trades. But the way the NBA works now with these transactions is it's just a math problem. You go find a player you want, and you have to figure out, how do I create the salary or the exceptions to acquire this player to make the checkbook balance almost. And so you look at the Magic. Like, I've had people say the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope signing was terrible. The Grizzlies bought him out after 1 year. He didn't even finish the contract that the Magic signed him to without getting bought out. He's going to end up joining the Philadelphia 76ers as well. But I tell them, like, look, you don't get Desmond Bane without Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And sure, maybe you had to give an extra draft pick or a pick swap in order to get off Caldwell-Pope's contract. Maybe you had to give up an extra first-round pick. You do have to pay for these mistakes in some way, but the Magic are a significantly better team because they have Desmond Bane, and that only happens because you have the salary on your books that allows you to make that trade. I argued when the Magic signed Jonathan Isaac to that big extension that they just got off of as well. That part of the reason why you sign him to that deal is so you have the salary ballast to make a trade. And if Jonathan Isaac doesn't get hurt, or Jonathan Isaac remains this like kind of elite defensive bench player, there would have been a trade market for him to get a $15 million player that you could really use. The Magic don't really have that on their books anymore to make future trades. The next trade is going to be Jalen Suggs or Wendell Carter, or one of the bigger pieces to reduce payroll. That's the path forward. And so in the NBA today, you got to have the tools to take advantage of opportunities when they come. And that's what the Magic did with Desmond Bane. That's what the Sixers did with Jaylen Brown.
All right, here's the fun question then. If we look at the last couple of weeks, did all these dominoes fall because Giannis wanted out of Milwaukee? Is that literally like everything that happened here?
No, I don't think so at all. I think a lot of these dominoes fell because the second apron has become a de facto hard cap. I know. So for the I don't want to get too deep into CBA lore here, but the NFL has a hard cap. You cannot exceed the salary cap for any reason. The NBA has what's called a soft cap, where you can exceed the salary cap. You have to use like certain exceptions to them to do that. So like there's the Larry Bird exception, which allows you to re-sign your own free agents and exceed the cap to do that. There's the mid-level exception. There's all these things. Under the current CBA, there is the system called the aprons. And if you're in the first apron, there are certain things you can't do. Like you can't take back more money than you send out in a trade. So you can't add payroll when you're in the first apron in a trade. If you're in the second apron, the restrictions become really, really hard. Like you can't sign anybody. You can only sign minimum contracts. If you're in the second apron for too long, your picks get frozen. You can't even trade picks to get out of it. And so the owners put this system in. And I think now we're really starting, and everyone kind of operated under the old system for a few years. And now we're seeing a new wave of owners come in, and we're seeing a lot of teams like look at their payroll and be like, we can't compete if we're paying this much. And B, why are we paying this much to begin with? The only reason the Celtics traded Jaylen Brown, or one of the reasons the Celtics traded Jaylen Brown was maybe Jaylen Brown was really discontent after the Celtics dangled him in the Giannis talk. So maybe that did make one of the dominoes fall. But the public reasoning that Brad Stevens gave was, I don't think we can win or compete at the highest levels where 70% of the salary cap is tied into two players.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And now a lot of money is still tied into Paul George, but less money. And they get off that contract sooner so they could go and attack again. If you look around the league right now, there's only one team that is in the second apron, and that is the Denver Nuggets, who entered the second apron to match a contract for Spencer Jones. That's $6 million. I think they're paying $6 million a year, or $12 million for a 2-year contract. That $6 million is $6 million in salary, plus like another 18 in tax payments because of how high over the aprons they are. And so, like, yes, when we talk NBA contracts, it feels like we're talking monopoly money. And like these numbers are so big, and it's just like, look, we could debate whether it should be that big or not another day, but they're so big, they feel like fantastical, but that's still actual money that goes out of some owner's pocket. That's real money that goes out the door. And I think the owners have been pushing to create a hard cap system and essentially handcuff their own spending for a long time. And I think what we're seeing this summer is the league finally having that, and the owners finally getting that wish. And I think this is just the consequence of that. And I think a lot of what we saw this summer is a consequence of these really onerous restrictions that owners don't want to be involved in or pay.
That was fantastic. Bravo, my friend. You finally, if anyone I know, you finally explained it. I didn't have to use AI. That was fantastic. It was.
I got more analogies if you want to know how I think team building goes now. So
dude. I don't care what you answer to this question. You don't trade him to Philadelphia. I know, I get it, yeah. Paul George. No, you trade him as
no, I agree.
They beat you in the playoffs as well. I agree. I don't get it.
But I mean, it's just like, again, like it's a math problem. Like literally, I would sit down and say, okay, who can the Magic trade for? Like Jalen Suggs. Like I think Jalen Suggs is probably the next guy on the chopping block for the Magic. I'd sit there and say, well, who has the salary and the players for Jalen Suggs that fit under these rules and fit under the rules. So you're decreasing salary, you're getting someone of value. And the number of teams that there are interesting players to do that for dry up really quick. And that's just the reality of the NBA today, is that it's not hop into the trade machine and make and go at it. It's how do we make this math work to get a player we actually want? And it's not easy. And so honestly, if you're going to trade Jaylen Brown, Paul George might be the best you can do.
And you're right. George is going to make like $50 million or so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not cheap either. Look, bravo to Philadelphia. I am sorry. Their front office, fantastic what they have done. All right. And we don't know what Embiid's going to do. I like Maxey. He's an all-star. Dude, they're the favorite in the East. I don't want to hear it. I know the Knicks. I know that one time it goes to Philadelphia. See, what I would do is, okay, you have 82 games to figure this out. Maybe you put Edgecombe on the second unit. Maybe you mess with some of the rotation.
I mean, look, the Knicks are the Sixers have one of the best on paper starting lineups in the league. Like that starting lineup: Maxey, Edgecombe, LeBron, Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown. Is that all five of those guys could be all-stars like this year? Like all five. Like VJ Edgecombe had an incredible rookie year. And Nick Nurse's challenge is going to be, how do I get these guys to play together and play the way we need to play together to maximize everybody? And how do I balance my rotation so that we're getting constant pressure, we're able to kind of constantly hum and work as a machine the rest of the way? They got, and honestly, like the LeBron and Jaylen Brown signings are making everyone forget some of the really good things they did this summer. They signed Dean Wade. He was going to be the starting power forward to a really affordable contract. Dean Wade, not the sexiest name in the world, but he was an excellent defender in Cleveland. He was probably Cleveland's best defender. Cleveland is going to miss him a ton. He's a really solid shooter. They added Anthony Simons. I think people are forgetting that. Simons is a really solid player in kind of a bench role, and I'm really intrigued to see what he does in a bench role. They got a really good young center in Adam Bona to back up Joel Embiid. They lost Andre Drummond, which is a big loss for them. I think the question is with Philadelphia is, can they be healthy? Nick Nurse was on the hot seat for a good chunk of last year. He's largely considered a good offensive mind, but a lot of people criticized his offense last year. Managing this roster is going to be tricky. And if anything goes wrong or they miss, or LeBron's going to miss some time, Embiid's going to miss some time, how they play in the times when those players miss time, which is going to happen, and whether their bench can actually step up, that's going to determine whether they're fighting for the 1 seed, fighting for the 2 seed, fighting for 3 seed, or kind of in the group of teams that are going to be in the middle of the pack, kind of climbing over each other for position.
All right, then. Where do the Magic stack up in the Eastern Conference now after all these moves?
Yeah, it feels like I say this all the time. If you're standing still, you're falling behind. And obviously the Magic very publicly said, we believe in our starting lineup. And we believe our starting lineup is one of the best lineups in the league. We just need to be healthy. And I think that is fair. I think the numbers would say, starting lineup is pretty good. They dominated the Pistons. And in the playoff series, the Magic had the best non-Spurs lineup to play at least 50 minutes during the playoffs. They were plus 14 points per 100 possessions against the 60-win Pistons in those 4 games. And I think it was 70-something minutes in those 4 games against the Pistons before Franz Wagner got hurt. There is something there. But I can't blame anyone for saying, okay, prove it to us. I'm not buying this until you prove it to me. And so could the Magic have a season like the Pistons had last year, where suddenly they go from this middling Eastern Conference team to, Cade Cunningham is an MVP candidate. This is a 60-win juggernaut that can win the championship this year and be the top seed in the East. I think this Magic team has that potential and has that talent. If Paolo Banchero takes a leap, Franz Wagner takes a leap, both are healthy. Desmond Bane has another really healthy season. He played 82 games last year, most of his career. Wendell Carter has played more than 70 games in 2 straight years. If the Magic are healthy, I think they can compete at the top of the East. But far more likely is there are still major flaws with this roster. And it's probably far more likely that this Magic team is going to be kind of fighting to avoid the play-in again. Like maybe they're in the fight for the 4th seed, maybe they're in the 5-6 race, but they're going to be trying to stay above water. And I've been telling people this all summer. The difference between the 5 seed and probably the 9 seed is going to be a game. And it's going to come down to how do you play? Like if Paolo rolls an ankle and has to miss a week and a half, this is 6 games. Do you go 4-2, 3-3 in those games, or did you go 2-4? If you went 2-4, you're going to be in the play-in. Like that's going to be the difference between avoiding the play-in tournament, which I think is vitally important, and having to go through the play-in ringer again. But having said that, I think all 10 teams that make the play-in tournament, that make the postseason, will believe they can win a playoff series. Mm-hmm. Like just, I mean, I want people to like, I've been trying to hammer this home. There are 12 teams in the Eastern Conference that think they can make the postseason, like make that top 10 and be in the play-in tournament. And honestly, even the 3 that I don't think will, that I don't think do, probably still believe that too. Like all 15 teams are in this race. When you look at like, let's just say the top 10 teams, so the widely considered top 10 teams, New York, Philadelphia, Detroit, Cleveland, Toronto, Boston, Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Indiana, would you have to throw back in the mix with Tyrese Halliburton back? All of those teams think they can win a playoff series. Like even if you are the 1 seed, you could get an 8 seed Indiana. You could get an 8 seed Atlanta. You could get an 8 seed Boston even, or an 8 seed Orlando again, which is still proven to be very, very tough. There is going to be nothing easy in the Eastern Conference. And so where you finish matters. How you're playing at the end of the season probably matters more. Because I think this East is going to be a bloodbath. This is the best Eastern Conference we've seen since the 90s. And honestly, I was thinking about it. The 90s was kind of top heavy. Like there were maybe 6 good teams. This is like 2000s Western Conference where everybody's good. And it's going to take at least 45 wins or it's going to take mid 40 wins just to make the play-in this year. It's going to be rough and tumble and really, really difficult. So the Magic, I think, are in the mix. I think they're in that pack behind the like true title contenders. Like maybe Detroit falls back into that group. Maybe Cleveland's kind of between that group. It's like Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, Boston, Detroit. Those group of teams are all fighting for the same thing. And it's, throw them up in the air, see where they land. Like that's how it's going to feel like for a lot of the season.
I agree with you 100%. And I feel like Giannis to Miami got lost in the shuffle now. Like that was a big move for Miami. They got him with Bam Adebayo. What's good? Dude, I know
that's a team with a lot of flaws. Like they wanted LeBron. I don't think LeBron fixed their issues, but they wanted LeBron bad. And now they're kind of scrambling around looking for guards. Like they don't like their starting guards are Davion Mitchell and Tim Hardaway Jr. And I worry a little bit about their shooting. I think their depth isn't great. Like it's got Miami's got the star power, but personally, I think Orlando's going to win the Southeast Division. I think they're better than Atlanta. I think they're better than Miami. But again, like I'm splitting hairs. Like it's like a game or 2 better. It's not like, oh, they're going to run away with this thing. No, I think the Magic are the best team in the Southeast Division if divisions still matter. But like Miami's right there. Atlanta's really good. Atlanta had a great end of the season last year. Like, can they do that again? Like, I think that's the question with them. They don't have the star power. They are a team that is a team. We'll see how it all plays out. That's why we play the games. It's gonna be a fascinating season.
You know what's interesting? All those teams you talked about, it's all put up or shut up. There's no like, well, we're like the Magic. Oh, we're a young team. We'll see. No. Everyone's like got a veteran squad. It's time to play basketball. All right, so I know we're waiting on Adam Silver, and he was waiting on LeBron. I'm circling for the Kia Center. I want to see the Heat with Giannis healthy. I want to see that game. We have to see Philadelphia now. We have to see this circus that's going to come to town. We have to see Wembanyama. That's a must now. The Knicks game, I don't know what. Look, it's usually the Knicks fans will show up, and it turns to some type like March Madness atmosphere. Oh, man, dude. There are going to be so many great games. I can't stress this enough for the regular season.
The NBA is in such a good place. Like I know people like there's a lot of negativity around the NBA, and I think a lot of it is just like driven by people trying to get a rise out of people. The NBA is in such a good place, and look, the new rules that I talked about earlier, like they were put in part because Adam Silver wanted the NBA to be like the NFL, where not the cap system, but the NFL where everybody believes they can win every year. And we've had a different champion now, I think, for 8 straight years. It's the longest stretch in NBA history with a different champion. And maybe we have to reconsider what a dynasty is in the NBA. Maybe a dynasty is you win one title, but you go to the conference finals 5 straight years, or you win 2 titles in 4 or 5 years. Maybe that's what a dynasty is. But we've seen it now where you can have one special season, like one season where it all just comes together, that like everything works out for you. You get through the playoffs, you get your shot at the championship. And like, I honestly, I would say, like, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and predict it's going to happen. But why can't the Magic have that kind of a season? Why can't the Magic have that road open up for them, that things just work for them and they click for one season? And so I think like a lot of these teams now are just positioning themselves to be ready for that one season, or to try and find that one season. Like you have your core guys, maybe you swap out, rotation players here and there to get to that one spark that works. And we'll see if the Knicks go back again. I don't know what's going to happen. The Thunder and Spurs are going to be back. The West has some good teams. I don't think it's as good as the East now. I think the East is the better conference, but there are so many good players and so many good teams. And like I said, there are 10 teams in the Eastern Conference that believe they can win a first round series. Like that someone's going to be disappointed. Someone's going to be bitterly disappointed at the end of the year. But that to me also means there's a lot of excitement, and there is reason to be excited and optimistic about this Magic team, even if doubt and some uncertainty are warranted.
And it's funny? I'll just end with this, and I appreciate coming on. After everything you said, and I agree with you 100%, all the bottom teams, we had the greatest draft in the last maybe decade. Dude, Caleb Wilson at 4. He looks like Kevin Garnett with a 3-point.
Chicago, like I don't think Chicago is one of those 3 teams in the East that I don't think have a shot at the postseason. No. But then you look at their roster, and it's like, okay, they got Caleb Wilson, rookie, good rookie, but rookie. Matas Buzelis is really good. I don't think anyone really knows what he is yet, but he's really good. And they signed Norman Powell, an all-star, to a free agency contract last year. Like they've got some players. Like Brooklyn. Brooklyn's a great example of this. I don't think Brooklyn is a play-in team, but they got Julius Randle in a trade. Michael Porter Jr. was a borderline all-star last year. He can get hot. Yegor Zemin had a fantastic rookie season. Like, they don't have depth, and that's why they'll probably miss the playoffs, because Julius Randle's going to miss time, Michael Porter will miss time, Yegor Zemin will miss time, like some of their big players will miss time. But when they're together and they're healthy, like that's a team that's going to steal a few games or build some winning streaks. And Jordi Fernandez is a fantastic coach. The Milwaukee Bucks are essentially the Miami Heat without Bam Adebayo. Like, that can still be a dangerous team. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to make the playoffs or make the play-in or anything like that. But those are the 3 teams I don't think, are thinking about the playoffs today. And they're all filled with some veteran guys who can play, who have been all-stars, who have played at a high level. And like, they can make some noise. And this is the other factor in all of this season is this is the first year with the new lottery reform. And we got like 2-3 years with this new lottery format. And I think that did impact how some of these lower tier teams acted, because they need to win a little bit. They need to win just the right amount to avoid that relegation zone.
Yes.
And lose those picks. Like if you're, and this is the sidebar, the Magic should be going for the top, for as high a seed as they can, go as deep in the playoffs. That's what matters. But if you end up in the play-in tournament, this isn't the worst year to do that, because you have your own pick and you get lottery odds, even if you make the playoffs as the 7 or the 8 seed. Like, being the 7 or the 8 seed might actually be a good thing for a team like the Magic to try and get into the lottery and get a chance at least you got one crack at getting a higher pick and maybe adding some cheap talent to your team that's really capped out. So it's gonna be a lot of interesting things to watch this year. It's gonna be a really fascinating season.
All right, this guy hangs out at basketball arenas. Well, not right now. Now he's probably at Universal running around in the heat.
Yeah, pretty much.
He'll be ready.
Pretty much.
I'm getting
especially this time of year.
I'm getting league pass because I also want to see A-Cuff on Sacramento. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I am excited for this year.
It's been a great year. It's going to be a really fun NBA season.
Damn right. Philip Rossman-Reich, Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic. Thanks for your help and have a great day. All right.
You too, Mark. Thank you.